I am a heterosexual American male who, up to this point, has been a staunch, outspoken advocate for homosexual rights. As such, I've listened to opponents thereof allude to the horrors of the gay agenda. I've heard people say that if we let homosexuals get married or be acknowledged in anti-bullying campaigns in schools, then we're just pandering to the queers and allowing them to advance the gay agenda. But I've never been given a clear explanation for what the gay agenda is until now. And believe me, none of those slippery homos told me willingly. I had to figure it out for myself. And now that I've done so, I'm compelled to spill the beans of the dangers that will come with allowing homosexuals to be treated like equal human beings in modern American society. So listen up. Think about it. If we allow school children to be taught that homosexuals don't deserve to be shunned, ridiculed, and otherwise bullied based on their sexual orientation, then we run the risk of homosexual students being less shunned, ridiculed, and otherwise bullied based on their sexual orientation. I know, but that's just phase one of their dubious little plan. So get ready to clean your splattered brains from the screens of your computers once I've blown your minds by explaining how it all comes together. In the meantime, try to stay with me. Now, if that risk does come to fruition, we're likely to see a significant decrease of young homosexuals committing suicide from pure shame for being who they are. It also seems likely to me that fewer completely innocent gay kids and adults will be brutally murdered by what would become a slightly more accepting society if they learn at a younger age that a difference in sexual orientation isn't worth hating someone for. So, what's the effect of both of those events? That's right, an increase in the homosexual population. If fewer of them are dying, then more of them are living. Logic. So, what's that have to do with anything? Well, compound it with the evil queer-mo-sexual agenda item of giving them marriage rights. If this entire country eventually allows gay marriage, then of course it won't affect the status of anyone who's currently married. In fact, that's just such a ridiculous concept that I'm convinced those who claim getting marriage rights to the gays is going to violate the sanctity of heterosexual marriages are actually homosexual double agents who've slipped in from behind and penetrated the conservative forces, making that a primary talking point. That's right, I'm onto you, Glenn Beck. Why do that? Because it's so damn stupid that if that's the key secular argument being proposed, then it's bound to get defeated. That's why gay marriage is becoming slowly but surely acceptable in this country. 13 states, the District of Columbia, and 5 Native American tribes have allowed it. So, if it isn't harming the sanctity of heterosexual marriage, what's wrong with it? Besides the fact that all those places have now become cesspools of immorality and filthy sin, the likes of which Sodom and Gomorrah don't even scratch the surface. I mean, there are rainbows and sodomy in the streets in those places. People are marrying animals. It's madness. But it's just the tip of the iceberg. Imagine a nation wherein homosexuals are granted marriage without a second thought in every single state, just like heterosexuals are. Where homosexual kids don't need to kill themselves or run for their lives in shame and embarrassment for that which they deserve no guilt. Imagine the amount of homosexual people who would come out of the closet and live open, happy, productive lives, injecting as much love and diversity into a culture that begins to accept them as the last several minority groups this country finally started treating like human beings, at least from a legal perspective. Sounds hunky-dory at first, doesn't it? Yeah, until you awaken in a world where the thriving gay population has utterly submerged the heterosexual population, a world where Congress is occupied almost entirely by limp-wristed, muscle-bound, effeminate former hairstylists and damn snappy dressers. Then what kind of world will we be living in? Well, I'll tell you what'll happen next. They'll use their majority control to begin stomping their fabulous jackboots on the neck of the dwindling heterosexual populace. They'll teach their children to interpret Holy Scripture so it demonizes the straights. They'll outlaw heterosexual marriage and tell us that we're the unnatural ones because we're in the minority. Heterosexual kids will grow up in a culture that hates them for something they had no more to do with than the color of their eyes or skin. Straight kids will feel deep internal shame from the vitriol that surrounds them, and they'll wish from the bottom of their hearts that they could just be gay in a desperate plea for the surrounding world's acceptance, while scores of people around them insist their heterosexuality was a choice they made. Many will feign interest in the same sex just to avoid the punishing culture that will then surround them. Gays will run the churches and organize programs that promise to cure the straight away from you if you only have enough faith and pray hard enough. You can do nothing from your home in this situation but shed a single tear each time you hear that a straight high school senior got beaten to death by an intolerant group of gay students who were raised by bigoted, ignorant parents. Can you imagine the cruelty and the emotional pain from living under such barbaric social conditions? The bizarre nature of enduring such tribalistic social norms in the 21st century? Can you fathom the despicable nature of anyone who wishes to propagate such malicious agendas? If you are currently an opponent of homosexual civil rights, then just keep imagining it in great detail and let me know if you think that's the kind of agenda we should allow. If at any point in your contemplation you start to feel a heart-wrenching blast of guilt surging through every fiber of your being, don't worry, that's just your sense of empathy waking up for what's possibly the first time. Don't hesitate to consult it more often.